hell? What the hell? What the hell? Let's see. Starting soon. Hey, what's going on, fellows? What is up? Got a bunch of my work here on screen. Apologize, my mess was working on it up until right before it started. Last minute. It's a problem. But anyway, welcome to the Scarred Thumb Podcast. I'm David, and welcome back to another episode. This time, well, I've got look. I'm giving you new multimedia presentations right here. Let's take a look at this. This is my OBS mastery here. Let's see, image slideshow. Let's hope this works. It's not working. What the hell? Slideshow. Show me the slideshow. There we go. Jesus. Okay, so I think this is working all right. So this is the slideshow here. I was watching Vitality versus Valkens IEM Melbourne. I'm not sure what game is that. Or is it? I'm not as familiar with Australia. All right, so this is the big culture war thing this week. Oblivion Remastered was shadow dropped. Very attractive, mysterious sounding thing. Shadow dropped. We shadow dropped it in. Oh, CS2, cool. Counter-Strike. So they shadow dropped this Oblivion Remaster. No one knew about it. Just came out of nowhere. Shadow dropped in, basically Oblivion with new graphics. And it's not all the new stuff they added. Because they changed the body type from male and female to type 1 and type 2. And I will say, besides that, I am a little bit offended that type 2 is male and type 1 is female. It should be male, female. They just had to change, they just had to tweak that a little bit. Because, why not put women first? What are you saying, they're the second sex? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. They're the second sex. Male and female. That's how it should be. But, regardless, they decided to change the usual thing, the usual current day thing, and change it from male and female to type 1 and type 2 because, it's for some reason it's offensive, or for some reason it's there's something wrong with saying male and female. The two things, two genders or two sexes that exist in humanity, that sort of make humanity continue. The sort of foundation that our race survives on, the connection of male and female, how we reproduce, that kind of stuff. Not that important, small things, just a small thing like that. Somehow that's offensive. So we need to get rid of it. We need to be more inclusive to people that don't identify as either, apparently. So we have to have type 1 and type 2, which in the game itself is treated as male and female. It's just a change in words. And that's where you get stuff like, let's see. So stuff like this. Well, Nexus Mods, someone decided to change it back to female and male. And Nexus Mods deleted it, as always, because it doesn't matter. Let's see. Where we go. I got this lady right here. She's on screen as well. Anyone crying about type 1 and type 2 thing in Oblivion Remaster is desperately scraping the bottom of the outrage barrel. No one's mad with you. We're laughing at you. You're embarrassing yourselves. Here's one of these little charts you love to wave around if you decide a game is a success or not. Now kindly shut up. This is some God Empress of Mankind. Wow. She thinks very highly of herself, but this is like the usual, a woman with an attitude. That gamer guys love to simp for because they need a woman to tell them how to think. They need mommy's approval in order to have an opinion. And of course, in the in the actual slides themselves, in this, like, she proceeds to just constantly responds to all of these threads. Maybe that's just an engagement thing. I don't care. Like, I don't care either way. I know what I am. I know what I play as, so it doesn't bother me. Not justifying, just laughing. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyone crying about the thing of living, considering most people are annoyed the body type doesn't necessarily mean they wish for the game to fail. You missed the crying bit. I've been having conversations with people who disagree with me, but still admit it doesn't take away from the game. I have no respect for people who use their audience to try and boycott a game because other people are enjoying it. Again, she just proceeds to, like, defend it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Body type 1 and 2. It's okay. That has an irritating voice. That's putting it lightly. So she just, it doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter at all. Not a big deal. This is the argument that they constantly use, and this is unfortunately one of the things I think about when, like, the anti-woke guys love to use charts, like, oh, go woke, go broke. The sort of, like, consensus building crap that they're trying to do is dumb. It's ultimately not good, because who cares? If Oblivion did well, it wouldn't make the Type 1 and Type 2 less bad. You know, it wouldn't make it right. I don't give a shit if, 100,000 people, want to play this game. This game sells like 1 million copies. Obviously, the Type 1 and Type 2 isn't going to stop most people from buying it. It's a small detail, but it's a small detail that it's part of a larger trend to kind of propaganda. Spreading this sort of propaganda of gender doesn't exist. And ultimately, the reason, and unfortunately, guys like Grums or, pick your anti-woke sort of guy, they never make the argument as to why this is bad, or they never, like, do anything deeper than that. It's always like, oh, it's the current day, but let's shift it. I got some slides here, and this, of course, is Abby from The Last of Us. If you remember, and actually, I didn't have time. I wanted to bring this. There's an interesting article where this woman's trying to defend Abby as, like, guys said no woman can look like this buff, like, which is a very bad argument, of course. And she shows the actual, like, model that Abby's based off of, and yeah, it looks exactly, her body type is exactly the same. Unfortunately, she's very buff. Not a lot in the breasts, but I think that's when you have, like, a low body fat percentage, that just happens. But yeah, a woman could look like this, obviously. It's not the idea that a female couldn't look like this. It's that females don't look like this. It's not feminine is the issue, and that, that's a nuanced argument that you can't really make online, unfortunately. Because, I mean, like, the other question is, why did you make Abby look like this? And this is, typical Naughty Dog, Neil Druckmann type of woman here. That's just completely stripped. It looks basically like a young teenage boy. That's what Neil Druckmann's really attracted to. But you look at this person, and, like, maybe if you don't notice a little bit of breast that she has, I mean, still, that could be, like, just a chest, essentially a male chest, practically. I mean, unfortunately, the woman she's based off of, like, doesn't have any breasts whatsoever. Extremely flat and just, large chest muscles. It's a shame, but even the model itself looks feminine. She tries to look feminine. She smiles. She has long hair. She's blonde. I mean, if you look at this lady's, I'm not going to look it up, but if you look at her, and then even, like, the face model, all of them try to look feminine because they exist in the world as females, and taking advantage, especially when you're in a competitive field like social media or acting, you need to try and stand out as best you can, or, attract people as best you can. So they don't reject their femininity in order to stand out. And then, of course, this is Neil Druckmann's latest project that he's coming out with. This is Olivia Munn, not Olivia Munn, Jordan Munn. This is from Intergalactic, the whatever, something heretic prophet or whatever. Another main character that just looks nothing like a female. I mean, maybe she has a little bit of breasts, but just shaved head, tattoos, just looks like a, again, some like Mexican twink, or like maybe she's like an Asian twink, would look around the same. And again, maybe that's what Neil Druckmann's attracted to. You never know. But at least with Naughty Dog, this is what Neil Druckmann wants to make. This is the ideal female now. Is the woman that has no femininity. I miss G4. No. This is Jordan. I believe Mund is the last name, but I've already forgotten this girl's name. That's how uninterested I am in this character. But she has an in-game reason to shave her head. Well, even with hair, she didn't look that good either. And this, of course, is Kay Vess. So this is like, if you're noticing a pattern here, who again at least has long hair, but you notice like all the cleavage is covered up. They broke her nose, so she doesn't. And like her again, the model for this character is an attractive woman, and like she just looks uglier in game, which is purposely done. It's not incompetence, though. I mean, Ubisoft probably has plenty of incompetence to go around. This is done on purpose. We have to like de-sex her. That's the appropriate female look right now. You got to look enough like a woman, like a little bit of a little hint to like that way it's a woman, but you need to make sure that she's not anything that men would find remotely attractive. You can't exactly. You got to cover the breasts. You got to cover the waist. It doesn't show the waist here, but you got to make sure to de-emphasize the hips with her outfit, because big hips would also be like another thing men find attractive. You gotta make sure that you don't look like you're making her attractive. That's the line they have to draw to sort of like walk. Is she needs to look like a woman, but you need to make sure you're not trying to make her look attractive to men. Because if you're trying to make a character that's attractive to men, that's gross. That's gross. It's juvenile. Bam. Yeah, I don't think there's a scene where she takes off her shirt and has a wet t-shirt contest. Doesn't happen in maybe there's a mod for that, but and this is so like all of those were original characters that were made like that, but this is the tragedy that's happened with established characters, where you have Cortana from I think there was Halo 4 on the left side, and then Halo 6. I mean, this is like current day Cortana, and you can see just the dramatic difference her character design took, as we have to cover her up to make sure that she does not look super sexy. That can't happen. She's not a sex object, all right? She's an AI. She's a female AI who should be valued for her personality, not her virtual tits. All right, you sexist. And this is what's happening. This is why I hate the sort of type 1 and type 2, because this is what's going on. Where like anything feminine, anything that's like, especially anything attractive that men find attractive, needs to be erased. Like it needs to be removed. It needs to be toned down. What was on the right, this was when men were making games for other men. And on the left. And now on the right, this is, current day HR, just making decisions. We got to make sure the females don't feel uncomfortable type of character design, where we cover Cortana up, make her look, like she's wearing a professional work attire here, which is exactly what I want in my, futuristic space shooter game, where I'm trying to save the galaxy from some sort of evil alien plot. And oh god, this was the Dark Queen from Battletoads, where it's just, took a sexy female character design and then turned it into like this goofy, ugly cartoon character, because you can't look sexy at all. You have to tone down the breasts. Not, I guess it's showing off a little bit of hip, but just awful, unsexy character design. Just totally transformed. This is what video games have become now. And this is just part of the propaganda that's infected this media, where you just can't have women, attractive women. And, well, Nexus mods did end up folding to, they did end up reversing the Type 1 and Type 2. And let me see if I can get their statement here. Grums, this is one of the things where I really don't like Grums, where he is so desperate to like claim victory for his side that he just, what's the word I'm looking for? He just doesn't really understand what needs to be done, or like what he should be doing. Because like we're winning, and then it's always like we're winning, guys. Look, Nexus mods folds. Nexus Sites allows the male-female mod for Oblivion Remastered. They tried to claim the mod was never banned for the mod, but for the behavior of the mod maker, which was probably true. I see it a lot of these mods where they intentionally try and get them banned, or it's not the first time I'd see it. And then Nexus Mods ends the culture war. Let me hide this so I can bring this up. Nexus Mods ends the culture war on their site. The explanation of their reversal of the MF signals withdrawal from the culture war. They're walking a thin line here, trying to appease activists. We recognize that mods can be a sensitive discussion, but then they back off. Our platform exists to support creative expression and modding, not to serve a battleground for the broader culture war or the culture debates. I prefer not to see this content. And then this is what it says. It says, if you don't like it, block it, essentially. But it also says our commitment remains the same to keep modding accessible and welcoming for everybody. And when anyone says that it's something like accessible and welcoming for everybody, that just means it's anti-white, anti-male, anti-Christian. That's just what it means. We do not tolerate trolling, harassment, discrimination of any form of toxicity that these discussions may provoke. So this isn't really, I guess in a way, yes, they're backing off on this, but I think Asmongold kind of, which, it's crazy that Asmon is far smarter than, I guess maybe it's not crazy that Asmon is far smarter than Grums, but maybe he has a better context. He's not really in the culture war thing, specifically like far right, anti-woke culture war, but he actually understands what's going on. Realistically, this was to prevent a watershed moment where large enough percentage of players transition from Nexus mods to another mod platform that breaks their default monopoly on PC mods. Losing a battle and fear of losing a war, still a W, but important to keep in context, which is 100% true. This is just at some point it's too ridiculous to defend for even people that are very, even ideological. Because, male and female was in the original game. It's what it was when it first came out. The idea that having a mod that regresses it back to that is really hard to defend. So if the people are smart and they upload it in a respectful way and say like, hey, this is just to show male and female, nothing else, then then it works. It's really hard for them to defend it, but I think, let me see if I could find the original picture that it was used. I guess it's actually their explanation was like, however, due to the nature of the topic, which why was the original mod removed? There has been a lot of speculation and misinformation regarding the original upload. To clarify, the mod was not taken down because of context. As stated in the ban warning, it was removed due to the uploader's behavior in the comments and the uploader's expression to an intent to incite drama and endorse an external site specifically designed to host inflammatory content. This behavior directly violates. Of course, they're going to ban you if you advertise a different mod platform. I think that seems fairly normal, a fairly normal thing to do. But even you look in some of the comments, you're like, here he's like, not to jump around too much, but the fact that he like kind of, it's almost like he forgives Nexus mods, or like, let's see how this new policy acts going forward. Or like he's just happy that this is happening, which I guess it's a good thing. But the reality is Nexus mods is done. Unless someone buys them and like totally replaces their mod team. It's like saying Reddit. Oh wow, good for Reddit. They didn't lock a thread, or like they changed some of their mods. Reddit is always going to be insanely left wing. There's no saving Nexus mods. So here, like, rather than advertising like something like Deg Mods, which was hosting it before before the ban, some sort of alternative to Nexus mods. Rather than advertise it here, he basically tries to like do like a little victory lap for himself and like hey, we're winning the culture war, guys. We're doing it. I mean, Asmongold understands it here. Like, we're winning. And even at Nexus site, it's not like, hey, Nexus mod's done. This is something that it's too far gone. There's too many activists. You really need to go over to something like, again, Deg Mods or something like that in order to continue to host mods. Because, I mean, right down here, this is Deg Mods right here, or DEG Mods. We're always here as an alt to provide censorship resistant. Can't delete the mods over what we've developed. So, again, this is what he should be doing is advertising this mods platform, rather than like, oh yeah, we're winning. Nexus mods is reversed course. It's always, hey, what's up, Jack? It's always this crap where like he has to like show that we're doing. Oh, here we go. Sorry. So this is Deg Mods. He has to show that like they're making progress. It's like kind of like the grifty thing that he does, where it's like, we're winning, guys. We're winning. If you keep following me, if you keep doing something, you keep following me, supporting me, we're winning the culture war, guys. It's happening. The vibe is shifting. He would gladly just accept Nexus mods if they do like one or two things. Like, wow, Nexus mods. Again, if they allowed like some different things, he would immediately stuff like this. He would immediately say, and like, oh, Nexus mods is great. Way to go. We've done it. We've changed their minds. It's always about changing. Like, they can change their hearts. They don't hate white people any less. They don't hate men any less. This is what leftism is, unfortunately. It's just become too far gone for just normal men to be welcomed in it. So let's Asmongold. This was funny. Something they'll make fun of Type 1 and Type 2, or oh, it doesn't matter. You're stupid if you boycott over Type 1 and Type 2. Something that they won't bring up. This was Nathan Grayson over at Aftermath here, who's boycotting Oblivion for a much different reason. Apparently, Microsoft is in the crosshairs of the BDS movement, boycott, divestment, and sanction, which is, of course, related to Palestine. So I guess Microsoft supports Israel, or like does business with Israel or something like that. So Nathan Grayson and some people on the left are boycotting Oblivion as well. You probably won't hear about that, nowhere near as much at least. And I don't think people like this God Empress lady, I don't think she'll be calling them ridiculous and say that we're laughing at them for supporting Palestine. But I guess supporting Palestine and or supporting your Christian values, that's two different things. It's okay to mock Christian people that find Christianity important, find traditional male and female important. That's just stupid. But supporting Palestine and brown people, that's sacred. That's where the sacredness really lies. And supporting people that you have nothing to do with your life. But I always thought it was funny that in this sort of like cultural stuff that almost, obviously the BDS thing is nothing new, and I don't think anyone's paying attention to it. That's funny. People on the right wanting to boycott it, and people on the left wanting to boycott it as well, for two very different reasons. This was another little thing kind of related to Oblivion, but I just found interesting. Ex-Blizzard boss critiques Oblivion Remastered. I'm skeptical about a 20-year-old remaster. What was once fantastic will never hold up against modern classics like Elden Ring. This just shows how dumb Mike Ybarra is. And I guess this is just sort of the thinking process of an executive. So he's the ex-Blizzard president. Like, Oblivion, that's 20 years old. Why would gameplay from 20 years ago be enjoyable now when you could be playing Dark Souls, some like Dark Souls version of that? Elden Ring, open world Elden Ring. Yeah, they're not two totally different games. It's not that the gameplay from Oblivion Remastered is as good as it was back when it was first came out. No. Because what? Why, Mike? Why isn't it as good? But what, does it not have enough save points or something, or does it have some? Does first person adventures not as popular now? Like, what is it, Mike? Why is Elden Ring so good? It's just these people can only think in like social trends, and I guess when you're a guy that has to think like, all right, what's going to be success? Your default as a businessman is going to be, well, let's just make what's popular. Dark Souls, Dark Souls, that's popular. Let's do a thing like that. Elden Ring, that sold 1 million copies. Let's make an Elden Ring. I guess this is how you get stuff like Concord. Like, hey, hero shooters, they're good right now. Let's 5 years from now or 8 years from now, they'll still be popular, right? Let's do it. Just dumb. I hate this. Hey, what's up, Silver Bishop? Good to see you. Hear from me on Sundays. Yeah. Let's see. Nexus mod caving over the body type mods is the only good thing to come out of the Oblivion remake. It's a hollow victory because game devs will continue to push androgynous ugly. Exactly. The propaganda is still there coming from like Western creatives that are very left wing. You're still going to see androgyny being pushed. You're still going to see like any sort of feminine, female-looking characters just getting pushed to the side. It's got to come from the mainstream. You're just not going to see it, unfortunately. So it is a hollow victory, and like I guess for normal people that aren't involved in it, that don't care, that just want to grill and use Nexus mods. All right, they can go on Nexus mods and get male and female. That's cool. That's fun. That's I can make my game normal-ish. I don't think there's been. I think from what I've seen, most people say it's a pretty faithful remastered that just sort of like updates the graphics. I've seen some people complain about I believe it uses Unreal 5 and how Unreal 5 looks, which I definitely get too. Everything seems to use Unreal 5 nowadays, and it just makes everything look kind of samey, and you lose some of the original kind of art style in it. But other than that, it just seemed like a faithful remaster. I know a lot of people are enjoying it. But to say like Type 1 and Type 2 doesn't matter, no, I think it does. I don't know if it's worth boycotting over if you really enjoyed those games. But I mean, for me, I mean, I'm not buying Oblivion because I don't want to play an RPG. It's all what to what, you know. It's ultimately your decision to go through, but it definitely matters. It's definitely a part of a larger scale effort to erase the difference between men and women and say like they're just the same, which they're not. There's definitely distinct characteristics to each, and it makes the art worse. Is eventually that's what really matters. It makes the art worse because if you don't have polarity between men and women, your art suffers, especially fantasy. I feel like in fantasy, it's so important to have that distinction between male and female, these like idealistic differences. When your ideal is, you know, the modern day ideal is Abby and like Jordan here. That's not an ideal. This is the ideal now, which is disgusting. I want an idealized female. I want a female that looks hot, looks sexy. Not this. But you know, Cortana on the left is, you know, a woman that men go on adventures for. They want to save. You know, that's or like, you know, someone like the Dark Queen, you know, on the right, or on the left. That's what, you know, men like ruin their lives for, not the thing on the right. Yuck. So I mean, like it's important to have these things in art. You know, video games want to be taken seriously as an art form, but I guess it's in all Western creative works now. From, you know, Amazon doing some crap to, you know, Hollywood or any of this stuff. It's just just getting worse and worse, unfortunately. Just so to say it doesn't matter, I disagree. Highly disagree. Let's move on here to the next topic. This is Marathon. Marathon, I covered it last time, but it looks like I think Marathon's in trouble. This is Bungie. There's been rumors that, you know, the Bungie like higher ups are, you know, checked out. They're waiting till they can cash in their stock option from Bungie and make a shitload of money. Who's funding Jordan Munn? It could be BlackRock. It could be something else. I don't know who gives Naughty Dog funding. I mean, obviously, Amazon or what was Netflix, I think, did The Last of Us TV series. I mean, that's what they want. You know, that's the kind of character they want. They want to push. So there's definitely a lot of funding in there. I don't know if it's, again, BlackRock or some of those higher ups, but that stuff seems to get, you know, green lighted nowadays. I don't know if it's, you know, I'm not sure if I buy into the like insidious, you know, like puppet master, like George Soros type of thing, but there's definitely like just in the overall leftism that's sort of taken over these creative fields. It's definitely seen as the good thing to do is to have these characters that look ugly. I mean, not unattractive, not conventionally attractive if you want to be nicer, but I'll just say ugly. These ugly women in these roles, because that apparently makes the world a better place. That's their logic. Is if we have unattractive women, well, that way the ugly fat women that we have nowadays, they can look and say, oh well, I don't look that bad. They can feel good about themselves. I don't need to go on a diet. But this, speaking about Marathon here, like I said, there's been a lot of rumors around Marathon. I think it's in trouble. It's going to be a game that, you know, again, it's not free to play. It doesn't have, you know, microtransactions. It's going to be like, hey, actually, I think it might have some microtransactions, but it's going to be a game that's a looter shooter that's going to charge you like $40 for. And, well, even to guys like Paul Tassi, which is like a huge Bungie simp over in Forbes, even he's not super impressed with it. The graphics look whatever. They're not as good. You have Paul saying, like, if we're doing the Concord thing, Marathon has more than double the players of the game's open beta with a severely capped closed alpha, and probably 80% of the request goes denied so far. Then that's people invested enough to request it in the first place. This is some context, which, I mean, it is a closed alpha. I requested one and I didn't get it. I just wanted to check it out. And like, so people are compared to Concord because, again, it's a $40 game in a genre that has a lot of free-to-play extraction shooters with microtransactions, so you have to have enough to buy in. They did end up... Marathon ended up removing their NDA on the closed beta. Originally, it was like an NDA, you're not allowed to discuss it. And there was such a bad response to the reveal that they decided to change it. So instead of it being like closed, you can't talk about it, like, please talk about it, please stream it, because we want people to see the gameplay. And they're thinking like, hey, if they see the gameplay, well, then it might change the narrative there, where it's just like, whatever. Like, a lot of people are just like, whatever, we don't really care, the game looks kind of ugly. So like, they need something to sort of change it around, something where people are saying like, all right, this is pretty good. Like, oh, the game, the game may not look like what I like, but the gameplay is really cool. But even the gameplay is having some issues here. So we're getting Paul Tassi trying to do damage control. PC aim assist is without question one of those alpha feedback things that get absorbed by Bungie and change. Apparently, he just knows how Bungie thinks. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. So no, not the death of skill-based gameplay. You decide for yourself here, guys. Don't listen to Paul Tassi. He's a lib journalist here. Let you decide for yourself here.
Are they lying?
I don't know. Hey, magnetism. Oh, that shit feels nice. Dude, I'm so down. It's the day and age. It's the day and age of mouse and keyboard. It's the day and age of mouse and keyboard getting freaking aim.
This guy is being extremely sarcastic.
Oh, look at that aimbot. Yes. Yes.
Oh my god, I'm aimbotting. I'm actually aimbotting.
Oh my god, it's incredible.
I'm fucking aimbotting. We have no fucking space. Oh my god, I'm fucking aimbotting.
We deserve this. We deserve aimbot. We deserve it. This is our moment.
Are they lying?
Yeah, that looks like fun. And this is sort of the funny thing about when they first, I remember when they're first trying to get crossplay between platforms, console platforms and PC. The argument was always going to be, well, console just can't compete. You're using a controller. There's no way you can compete with guys with mouse and keyboards, and they can't. They really can't. I think motion control helps, but in the end, mouse and keyboard is always going to be better. So what they did, and I think Fortnite might have been one of the, I don't know exactly which one, but aim assist became a big thing for console players, where it can help them out. And in a lot of ways, it went too far, where now it's console players can shoot better because, well, they don't need to try as hard. And now PC is getting, which just seems like a sin, an incredible sin for a PC game to have aim assist. For a good reason, too. It's just not, again, it's not skill-based gameplay. I even said it. Aiming with a mouse has always been about, playing first-person shooters, always been a game of skill. That's what a first-person shooter is. It's always the shooter right in the name. You can't take away the shooting part. Aiming's part of the shooting, by the way. So you remove a lot of the fun, a lot of the difference, especially if it's going to be a PvP, which it is. You have you shoot some bots as well, and you also fight against other players. So if we're having a PvP game that's built around it, and you have aim assist, oh man, I mean, what at what point are super skilled players supposed to stand out? It's the noob assistance tool. Exactly. So more stuff. Exactly. So much of modern gaming is about removing friction, and I guess missing and aiming, building up your skill in a shooter. Well, that's friction as well. So that we got to save people from their bad experiences here. And of course, the high skill guys, they're no good. Who cares about them? They're a really small percentage. So this is Paul Tassi's article where he has to defend Marathon. He's still in for it. He's not that impressed with the game, but he's got to defend Bungie. They're his friends. So there's been a lot of commentary about first impressions the game was made, but a couple of issues above all others. First, the realization that the PC has severe aim assist with mouse and keyboard, leading shooter players to say it's essentially a built-in aimbot and has turned off many from the game. This is where It's an Alpha mode comes in, and after this feedback, it's already clear that this is going to be... Here's the notice the word here, scaled back. It's not removed, it's scaled back. Here's gameplay director Watts on the issue. This is something we're trying out as a lever to keep the parity close between mouse and keyboard and controller. This is such an insane line. Maybe I'm just getting old, but they want to keep parity between mouse and keyboard and controller. So if you're on a PC, you don't want to feel bad you're not using your controller because we need aim assist for both. Let's just make everybody have aim assist. Then it's the same. We can't give the controller player, we can't turn off aim assist for the controller because he'll feel bad because controllers suck for first-person shooters. At least, a competitive first-person shooter. And so we have to have it there. So we got to give it the mouse and keyboard too, because maybe the guy with the mouse and keyboard sucks. And he wants to have aim assist on shooting. It's nuts. This is crazy. Crossplay, man. This is one of the issues with crossplay. I don't know if I don't like crossplay. I guess because maybe I don't play with it. None of my friends really have play on consoles. You all play on PCs, so it's not really necessary. Aimbot sellers are done for. Marathon has found the answer. Yeah, that's one way you fight hackers. You just give everybody an aimbot. That's outdo them, beat them to the punch. We're definitely trying to get folks' reaction for this as a lever for getting more parity without losing the skill ceiling and skill expression that you get when you input with the input of your choosing, whether it be mouse and keyboard or controller. What is this? What does this even mean? Having an aimbot and not losing the skill season and skill expression, it's the opposite of that. They're literally totally different. Helping people aim is losing skill expression and skill ceiling. And this is nuts. I don't know. This actually turns me off more than the graphics, which, oh, thank you, Forbes. Thank you for giving me a bunch of adverts. This is why they're like, oh yeah. By the way, they always have this shit where you have to turn off your ad blocker, and then they just give you the ugliest looking site imaginable with the ads. This is us getting out there to get some thoughts and iterate from there. And this is the funny thing too. Is some of the stuff, the mods here, Underbarrel mod, have aim assist as a stat. And apparently, I never played Destiny, so Destiny guns have this as well, where the gun stats have aim assist. It's insane, which is such an insane thing to think about. This gun helps you aim assist better. Wow, it's not like damage. Weight reduction makes sense, but now guns have aim assist. Holy smokes. This seems like baby's first FPS. But apparently Destiny had that too. Never played Destiny, but I think Destiny was at least a PvE game where you're fighting against, other creatures. And I could kind of see all right, I could see that working in a PvE where you have all right, this gun aim assists better, but your trade-off is you do less damage. So you can, depending on how good you are, if you're really good with your shots, well, maybe that's a bad thing because the aim assist lowers the damage. So you're better off with a gun or with modifications that are really, really high damage, but no assistance, or kind of like recoil, less recoil or something. If you have the skill to make up for it, you can get higher damage. That's a fine trade-off. But in a PvE game, well, Halo was baby's first FPS, so maybe they're still turning into tradition. Hey, that's kind of right. Separate is how it should be. They're literally really skilled console shooter players, and their skill gets taken away with aim assist too. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, there are people that are good with mouse and key and stick. I mean, they'll never be as good as this was always an argument within, I used to play Splatoon a lot. This was an argument that was always in Splatoon because it was motion controls versus just like stick controls. And pure stick players would always get upset because the motion control players would kind of like look down on it like it's not as good. And it's not. It is not as good at all. There's nothing like every single like there's like one like freak which is decent with mouse and with pure stick, but that's it. That is it. And Splatoon's not a game that's very big on precision. Like everything has like a larger. All the bullets have like a larger hit zone. They all have motion. There's some like random variance in the shot patterns that it comes out. So it's not a game that's like super hit scan, ultra react mode first person shooter. But even then, having that extra bit of motion, that extra precision that motion controls provide, makes you infinitely better than stick players. And using just pure sticks, it isn't a good way to aim. It just isn't. But they still wanna have it. And then, like, again, the only way you make up for it is by adding like aim assist, by having stuff like this. And it just doesn't work, because ultimately in a PvP game, what people are going to value in the long run is skill. So Marathon, it's not looking good. It really is not looking good for them. When you have stuff like this in a PvP game, I don't know how you manage it. And I don't think they're going to be able to manage it, but we'll see. Marathon, I don't know. Things are not looking good for them. That's all I can say. One of the cool things that came out is Clair Obscur Expedition 33 came out. Let me take a drink here. It has sold 500,000 copies instantly. I guess at this point they've said it's sold over 1 million in 3 days. It's been extremely successful. It came, Oblivion Shadow dropped their game out the same time that this Clair Obscur came out. Clair Obscur still did very well. It is a turn-based, in big air quotes, turn-based RPG, because the turns like happen in real time. Like you can parry. It's like, I guess, think Mario and Luigi type of games where it's turn-based, but it also has like actions that happen within the turns. So if you played any like Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi, it's that type of turn-based RPG, but kind of like realistic looking. This is actually a really cool story. I always like this. And this is like Maximilian Dude talking about it.
I think it's unbelievable this game
I can take a drink now.
was made by so few people. I think what this game, and again, it's like, yeah, that's so impressive that you guys did so much work and stuff like that. You know what it is? Of course it's impressive that they did so much work. However, I think it's a realization that like this industry and how many people are involved and how many moving parts are severely getting in the way of creativity. It's why independent developers have found a way to become more like identifiable and relatable, because they're able to execute their vision with very little flack, right? They're able to get to what they want to get to without having to worry about shareholders and release dates and all that kind of stuff. Like way too many things holding back the ability for the devs to just do what they want to do.
Oh, that's Max talking about it. And this is something that's been incredibly true in modern games, where you see like 3,000 people worked on the game, and they're talking about Clair Obscur 33 was made by like 33 people. I think that's where the 33 comes from. The 33 main people. I think they outsourced some stuff, or I probably got some temp workers for certain things. 32 people make a game this good. In a generation where AAA has felt so lackluster with exploding cost on the dev and the player, then we have to reevaluate what we're doing as an industry. And this is one of the things that I think is definitely needs to happen, is where some of these big groups you go into smaller groups where you can actually have a creative vision. It's not like a million people where you have to talk to. Like, actual artists can have some sort of a say on what happens with the game. There's no, focus groups deciding what would be the best thing to do. There's no consultants. It's, actual artists making art. That's very cool to see. And it's now, I guess, one of the highest rated games of 2025 on Metacritic, which I don't give a crap about. Core team. This was a really interesting picture. Let's look at, I guess this is true. So this is the studio behind the newest hit game, Clair Obscur 33. This seems awfully white. People quickly point out, a lot of white guys, no like colored hair in it or obvious troons in this game. It's just, like a lot of dudes, a few women. Wow. Now, this obviously isn't the 33 people, but it also looks very white. Very white. Huh. Kind of makes you think. I don't know. Does that mean anything? Who knows? We're just observing. We're just noticing things. The game is so good you think they must be. Well, I mean, that's unlike the CS2 players are just insane. They're just insane. And that's, they should be rewarded for that skill. This was something that was related to Clair Obscur, but also like just bizarre. So look at this. This is their review. I don't know, how do you show less? So this is how it starts out. This person, a PlayStation coverage guy, they played Clair Obscur 33 for 60 plus hours, defeated all the super bosses. Here's my review. And this is how they start the review. 2 graphic modes on the PS5. Many options, motion blur, film grain, chromatic aberration, and more. Played the game on the PS5 performance mode. Solid FPS with great picture quality. Very fast loading times. Minimum. What is this? Like, this is how they start their reviews. And by the way, just to criticize this, like, I don't know. I went far enough to actually find anything on gameplay. It's so far down. But, like, why do you do this, like, little, like, dashed list when you have, like, 30 things here? When it's this long, why not just use paragraphs at this point? Like, break them into paragraphs. Here's graphics. Here's gameplay. Here's one paragraph. Here's some other soundtrack. Maybe you want to put that in a paragraph. Use paragraphs, for Christ's sake. It's just like dash list down all the way down. This is ugly. It's so ugly, but is this a PS5 thing? Are PlayStation 5 players, they have some sort of like damage? This was another thing. This is like PS5 gamer that I found just annoying as hell. Or it's like gaming is hitting so good in 2025, and we're still in April. And then it's just Metacritic scores. Like, oh, this is great. Yeah, gaming must be great if Metacritic says so. Which is, by the way, this is the journalist thing. Oh, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm sure that's good. Split Fiction. I've heard Split Fiction's pretty good. Monster Hunter Wilds. Why are we posting Metacritic scores? It's so... You forgot one. Want to include new titles, no remaster. He didn't want to include Nintendo games, is what he really didn't want to include. The greatness. People posting another Metacritic score. I don't get it. Like, yes, media consensus. Gaming saved. The media says so. Why wouldn't you just... I don't know if this guy ever even played it. He's also putting how many platinums he's got in his bio. This guy seems insane. There's something wrong. There's something wrong with PlayStation 5 gamers. And I'm not sure what it is. But why the hell do you start when they start their things with graphics, graphic modes, and FPS? Something's wrong. There's something wrong with your priorities there, German Strand. And the Metacritic scores, of course. Why not? Why not explain why these things are good or bad when you can just post a Metacritic score? Let's move on from here. There is a few things. We're about to wrap it up. I didn't do game of the week this week because I was gonna do Okami, which I've been playing, but I still haven't beaten it yet. It's a bit longer of a game. Also, it's there's another topic that I didn't cover today that I'm gonna like tie it into about, getting too old to like play certain games and enjoy I think that's an interesting topic. I'm gonna try and like tie it in to that. This was something beer and game. Drink a beer and play a game turned me on to. They've been very against. They're collectors of retro games, and they hate limited run because they're kind of in that wheelhouse where they make these games. Guy named Moriarty came out with a big essay on it. Personally, I didn't like the essay because it focuses a lot of the focus is on some like leftist stuff where like they bring up, oh no, they're working with Saudi Arabia, like, oh, not Saudi Arabia, human rights violations, like everything's made in China, which does human rights violations all the time. It's like the only reason Saudi Arabia gets brought up is because it's kind of like smaller, we're not tied in, and it's easy to ignore. Like it's very easy to just boycott Saudi Arabia. It's like boycotting Israel. It's pretty easy. Well, maybe it's easy. I'm not sure. I've never looked into the BDS movement, but it's easy to boycott Saudi Arabia. They don't export a lot besides oil, and I don't think no one's going to call you out like, oh, you got your gas from Saudi Arabia. Like, well, I mean, what else am I going to do? I don't know where that oil comes from. But and then other stuff where they complain like the guy apparently like, and I guess maybe it's an issue, but some of the stuff is like any owner of a small business would do, where like he's using his business to like buy a house, I guess to avoid some like taxes or something. You're like write it off, it saves some money. Like that's stuff that I don't think is a really big deal. I guess maybe if you're trying to like scale your business into like something more professional, it'd be an issue. Or like using it to collect games. I mean, that's stuff that any small business owner would do. Like if you go like to any small business owner that owns, just some like pool company or electric company, yeah, they're going to use their business account to scar thumb their nose with. Basically, anyone will do that. Any small business will do that. So it's like whatever, and then like he mistreated some of his employees. I mean, I don't care about the morals, that kind of stuff, but they do some really shady like business stuff as far as like me buying the games, and where they like printed stuff on CDRs which don't last as long, where they're lying about how many they print. Like they supposed to have like a limited print run, but like if it sells really well, they'll just make more rather than telling them. And like him specifically saying, the boss specifically saying, like, we never release sales numbers, so no one's ever going to know. Which again, if you're and then of course, they allow you to buy two because they know that's a way to like maximize scalping. People that are just collecting it to resell it. So there's a lot of issues there from the business side of it, which limited run probably not a good idea to buy their stuff, because again, they don't seem like they make it as hard as possible to return it if you have anything defective, because they're worried about you're going to rip them off. Overall, they just seem like a bad company. I don't really care about the some of the stuff, but it goes on for like I think like 30 minutes. I forget how long it's going to be. Oh no, it's an hour and 30 minutes. So it's just super long, but it does, if you really want to go into like limited run and you care about this guy yelling at people and making them feel bad, well, you watch the whole thing. But mostly, my takeaway is that as like from a customer service perspective, they're awful. They seem really bad. They've done some really shady stuff. So if you're like trying to like buy these things to preserve your collection, or even buy them as a collectible that's going to go up in value, maybe. But some of the stuff they've done, like they know the fact that a lot of people aren't going to open it and save it in sealed. So I'm a little worried that they're cutting they're cutting some corners, knowing that people aren't going to play them. I think that's one of the reasons they tried to do the CDR thing, is that they know that people are just going to keep it in a sealed box and not try and play it. So why would you worry about disc rot if you're never going to play the game? It's messed up. So be careful when you're purchasing from a limited run if you do. I was looking at like one of their Freedom Planet 2 things, which it's not an old game, like their physical releases, but in the end, I just found it was too expensive. You're like paying like $60 for a $20 game, and then you get like some extras and stickers and that kind of stuff. It's like, nah, I don't want to do that. I already own the game. I'm more of a physical guy. Oh, I didn't prepare it, but Switch 2, so many of their games are passkeys in Japan. And I don't know if that's going to be the same in the West, but it is messed up. The amount of physical, quote-unquote, games that are coming in as passkeys, I just don't see it. But this is from Bloomberg. Switch 2 pre-orders estimated to be 1.6 million globally. And it's estimated that Nintendo could produce 6 to 8 million by June 5th. For reference, the biggest selling console launches ever are the PS4 and PS5, tied at 4.5 million. Switch 2 is looking to smash records. So all the people that were kind of saying, like, oh, it's too expensive, people aren't going to buy it, And look, would it be good if it was less? Of course. But it doesn't seem like the $500 is $500, $450 is going to dissuade anybody, because it is selling like crazy. I tried to pre-order on the night. I stayed up till midnight to pre-order it. I was able to get one on Walmart.com, but Target crashed. The Best Buy crashed. And, of course, GameStop the next day, which opened it at 11, their website crashed. It was crazy. And also, if you're still trying to get a Switch 2, I don't know if it's still happening, but basically Walmart and GameStop, they canceled a lot of their bot orders because, of course, a bunch of scalpers and shit were trying to get a bunch of bots getting online, which I think was a lot of the crashing reason a lot of that crashing happened, to purchase these games. And, well, they're canceling those orders. So stock might be opening up in the future. I know a few of my brothers that missed the original order were able to get it from Walmart.com, which thankfully I'm really hoping, fingers crossed, because we're like, oh, I got the pre-order, but is it going to get canceled? But considering they're canceling a lot of these bot orders, I guess it means there's enough stock to go around. And I'm just hoping, of course it's being delivered, so hopefully, some guy isn't, it's not going to fall off the truck and some guy's going to keep it for himself. So I'll know when it's there. Like once I have it in my hand, then I'll count it as mine. Until then, I'm cautiously optimistic. But Switch 2 doing phenomenally well. Looks like it's going to smash records. This was one of the things that some people were accusing. People went to Best Buy to get the Switch 2 and in person. I guess if you went to the brick and mortar, you had like an advantage in order to pre-order one. And I think with the stock that they're reopening, it's just in brick and mortar. But some are accusing them of like forcing you to bundle stuff up. They wouldn't let you order just the Switch. You had to bundle it up with some of their other crap. Ela Tenzi, I can't pronounce this guy's name. This guy claimed that GameStop Queens, New York, was pushing custom Switch 2 bundles on people, blocking their ability to just get the hardware alone. We've since confirmed this activity at other GameStop locations. According to Tenzizel, who I have no idea. Jesus, whatever, this guy. Tenzizel, this particular GameStop location claimed it couldn't process Switch 2 solo SKU, but they could make things work if you went with the GameStop bundle. That includes a case, screen protector, and more. It certainly seems like an incredibly odd glitch for GameStop to suffer, which some wondering, yeah, it's not a glitch. It's them being pieces of shit, because they obviously, there's probably a quota or some crap where, hey, we got to make as much money as they're desperate to get one. Why not force them to bundle it up? Hey, you want some? You want a Switch 2? Well, you got to buy all our crap that goes with it. Get an extra $100 from him. Why not, you know? On a personal note, I can say that our local GameStop allowed Switch 2 bundle pre-orders and solo Switch SKUs pre-ordered as well. That said, the GameStop employee was pushing incredibly hard for us, which I feel bad for them because I think they have to do that. But, you know, multiple times, it just shows you, like, why people want to shop online now. Is because of stupid execs that make people do that. Rather than being able to provide customer service, like good customer service for people, they force you to upsell hard to the customer, which nobody wants. Nobody wants it. Like, sure, you can like try and upsell them, like, hey, you want a screen protector or some other thing? Like, you could kind of throw it in like you're looking out for the guy. But like to ask multiple times, that's just awful. No one wants to deal with that. We're on Switch 2 in weekdays. GameStop did indeed have forced bundles that packed in random games and accessories. But apparently GameStop has provided us with a response that it is not their policy. Overwhelming customers have a positive experience. Sure thing, GameStop. Well, that's kind of an interesting story where people taking advantage of the frenzy to get a Switch 2 to sell a little bit extra. They made me get a Hori Switch 2 camera and a Switch 2 wheelchair basketball accessory. I don't think that's real, Aaron. I don't think that's your extra Switch 2 wheelchair. Yeah, that'd be cool. Actually, a 3D printed mouse. You know, like a 3D printed thing for like your Switch 2 mouses where you control the wheelchair. For my wheelchair basketball game. Yeah. I guess we're running a little over time. I thought this was funny. They're now like him wasn't enough. You know, we gotta have the new evolution. Him, their sexuality, their Tinder profile. Let's throw it all in, and now it's like white. Now it has their ethnicity as well. And some people saying adding pronouns to the turning UI was a great move, but I think adding ethnicity of the players is a bit. I think adding pronouns is retarded. But Emps, apparently race is too far for Emps. Even Emps thinks this guy, the pronoun guy, thinks, you know, doing race might be taking it a step too far now. Well, this is just a natural evolution. When you're including stuff, like at one point we're including their sexuality or like their country, which countries is kind of cool if you want to like, you know, spark some international rivalry, you know, some patriotism. Like, yeah, let's root for the USA guy. But no, we got it also has him, because you have to know their sexuality too. In case you don't want to think the guy that with long hair that looks like a guy, you don't want to mistake him for a guy when he's a she they. Now that'd be awful. And of course, you don't want to mistake this guy for Italian or Hispanic. You got to know he's white, so you know who to root for. Now, I like how some people, you know, this guy this Braxton. Now I know who to root for at a glance. Just white. I'm rooting for the white guy. This is what's going to happen, pal. If you keep pushing identity, it's like going to horseshoe around where it's just like separate venues for race and sex, which I think it might be a good idea. I don't know. Let's end it on a positive note, though. This was nuts. Just a random thing. Look at this dodging here. It's insane. This is what Smups can do, man. Like how do you even dodge this shit? I can't even keep track of what's going on the screen. This guy dodged all of that shit. Insane. Insane. This is why Shmups are so cool. Like, where can you get that sort of a insane level of precision? In what genre? And the fact that it lasts so long, too. Like, the health bar is going down so slowly. I'm surprised something can last that long. But I prefer type 2 to be honest. What's the topic right now? I'm wrapping it up. That's what the topic is. Good to see you. Good to see you, Stimber. Yep. We're just talking about this amazing dodging, but we're wrapping up the topic. We're wrapping up the podcast. It's already been an hour, and I gotta go. I'm gonna go. You'll be redirected to post 0, which we'll be talking with the guys. Kind of similar topic to what I did today. Like, what does it matter? Just like deciding like what does matter. And of course, when you're a guy, your needs, society wants to kind of talk you out of things that are important to you, as you know, something that doesn't matter, things that are frivolous. Instead, in favor of supporting others. But I'll see you guys there, and we'll end the stream. Thank you guys for joining us. Like I said, for STEM, we just talked about like type 1 and type 2, and sort of the erasure of the sort of feminine form in video games, and why this stuff does matter. Like them changing type 1 from type 2 from male and female, it does matter. Trying to change the language is something that they've done and continue to do, and unfortunately, it's been effective so far. At least in like what type of games you're getting out now today, and especially in the mainstream. But hopefully, like stuff like smaller games are becoming more successful, and as more competition comes out, I think you're going to find that people will be more attracted to stuff that has a bolder vision with male and female polarity, with stuff that people want to see and what they want. And hopefully it's not just going to be these sort of gotcha type games that just use sexuality to lure you into paying money. That isn't, is it better? I don't know. That's a topic for another time. Hope you see you guys later, and goodbye. Goodbye for now.